We are back with the Badass 2000, and today we are going to remove the subframe off our AP2 engine and get it ready to drop into the Badass 2000.
Pete, given your history with S2000 oil pans, are you sure you should be doing this right now?
You know what, Internet and Dave? Screw you guys. I'm pretty confident this time around that I am going to remove this oil pan and not goop it up with too much silicone so that it causes this whole headache that we're going through. But there's a reason why we're taking this off, Dave.
I know. I just
and
had
it's
to
a
take
good
a
one.
cheap shot. It is a good one. It's right here, and it's a baffle from EVS Tuning that is quite clever. It's supported from the underside of the engine.
Yeah.
It sort of hangs in there and prevents oil from sloshing up the side of the pan. So quite a clever design, I think.
For a track car, it is worthwhile.
Yeah, I mean, the same theory applies as to why we ran the baffle pan originally. This is just going to use the OE pan with a baffle instead, and we should have the best of both worlds that way, with the cooling of an aluminum pan with the fins on it.
And the seal, the OE seal.
The OE seal,
yeah.
and a baffle. So I think we can probably call that a win-win-win, as long as we make the right moves when reinstalling it, Peter.
I think we will. I definitely think we will. I can hear it.
There she
I can
goes.
hear the oil dripping.
There
There she goes indeed. Oh, let me come to this side here. Oh, yeah. All right, we are gonna have some serious drippage going on here. People, I know what you're thinking. I'm back to my old habits, using a wheel on our oil pan to clean the gasket off. But I will say I have made some improvements. This time around, I'm actually using a proper disc. I was using a proper disc, if some of you remember on my SR20 video, but people freaked out that I was taking I don't even know, an abrasive pad to aluminum, but I'm pretty confident that is okay. We've now got a clean surface on our oil pan. Now I always start off with a razor blade. So I have foregone the air tool with the Scotch-Brite pad and just switched over to the conventional method because there's a lack of space here to get that in there, and I don't want to hit or damage anything else around the area. So this does take a little bit longer, but it's still well worth the effort after you've used a razor blade. It took us a little bit longer than I wanted to or expected to figure out how to install this EVS oil baffle, but I think we've got the hang of it, and they've given us all the proper instructions, albeit they're from Japan, and I don't know if they're using dot matrix printers or printers without much ink left in them.
Yeah,
But,
not the highest quality printout,
no.
but they do have their instructions online too, which are much easier to read.
What do you think? That looks like a mighty fine baffle. I think we're track ready now with our bottom end here, which means it's time to put some Permatex Ultra Gray RTV. This looks really mint, so I'm gonna use lots of this on the oil pan. And DP.
I told you it was still good.
I don't know if we're gonna be able to use, oh, here we go. I'll just use this right here. There we are. Let's scoop this up, and it's actually hard as a rock.
Yeah.
You didn't think I was gonna use this, did you? I hope not. Here you go, Honda boys. We got the good stuff. This is like liquid gold. This was $26 at the Honda dealership. So
Canadian dollars, so that's probably like 15 to 20 US.
Still, it is worth its weight in gold,
pretty-
apparently.
Yes.
So now I will.
And we should mention it's not the same as that Permatex Ultra Gray stuff, even though it's a similar color. Apparently it's got a lot stronger bonding agent in it, so it's not just a sealant, it's also an adhesive. I'm not sure. I believe it was originally designed to glue together motorcycle engine cases, and then it, you know, evolved.
Made its
in
way onto
uses.
oil pans for cars.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway.
All right, well, this is going to take 20 minutes.
Yeah.
I am trying to not over apply here.
Exactly. Honda bondage complete.
That's right.
Slap it on there, PT.
Rate my Honda Bond job, internet.
Oh my God. Why are you asking for more punishment, Peter? You've been punished enough as it is.
No, no, no. I want to make sure people know that I did this right.
Someone's going to say, that's too much, and someone else is going to say, that's not enough.
Wow.
Either way, you're just setting yourself up to lose, Peter.
No way, I'm a winner. There she goes.
There you go.
Look at that. You can hear the tone change.
Yeah. The oil pan on that motor, it felt like it was time to put it in here, but not yet. We've got some work to do here first to clean it up. We need to pull out the intake that we built for the ITBs. We need to get rid of the engine harness because that's got a new one on it, and this one's not quite compatible because we hacked it up a bit. We've got to swap over the throttle cable. So there's a bunch of stuff to do.
Here is our
Look at that thing.
wonderful intake setup.
Yeah.
There was so much critiquing going on about the ribs
Yes.
on this portion here and how we were losing lots of power because the turbulence of the airflow and whatnot.
Turbulence.
And what people didn't realize was this was a 4-inch and the previous intake was a 3-inch, so it could be negligible.
Peter, the
It could be
turbulence.
negligible. So anyways, we're gonna be replacing this with
Going back to the classic AEM cold air intake. Exactly what we had on this car originally, isn't it?
Yeah. I think it's probably the best cold air intake for the S2000 out there. It reroutes it down to the fender well here. So essentially what you saw on here, this is an old piece of the air intake.
Yeah.
So we're just gonna reroute it again, get it set up. Well, it's a sad time to say goodbye to our AEM Infinity because we're going back to the stock ECU, but this will find its home in something else very shortly. We're definitely not gonna get rid of it anytime soon. And the next thing here is going to be replacing that throttle cable because if you recall, we had ITBs and I snipped it to modify it to work with them. So now it's time to crawl under here.
Stand on your head under there?
Yeah, and get at it. I'm just about to pull the throttle cable out, which means I actually have to take this whole assembly off. And then I realized, holy smokes, the accident had actually shifted the entire gas pedal over. Like this whole thing should be straight and now it's bent, the whole assembly. So it's gonna make life a little bit more difficult here, but hopefully I can still remove everything. Let's see if this will help here. Yep. There it goes. The cruise control actually is super jammed up. All right. Whoa. There it goes against the firewall. Well, we've got our assembly out here and I just gotta pull these cables through and then we can swap this over. Oh, yes. All right. Looks like our gas pedal is in. We're back to having a factory throttle cable. So DP, what's left?
Man, I don't know what is left. Is it time to throw the motor in there?
I think we may be ready.
Let's do it.
Yes.
Well, first thing we had to do actually is redo the chains. We moved our setup onto the back of the intake manifold here because it was on the transmission and we figured that would not work. So we're jacking it up. The issue is we're not gonna have a lot of tilting action. We figured out it tilts this way, but not this way due to the way we have this set up. We just could not find a good bolt in the back and the front of this motor. So if you guys know the best way to tilt this thing or bring it up on a tilter, let us know in the comments. You done there, DP? Let's get this thing in here.
No bueno, PT. We need the tilter in the right axis so that we can get the nose of the tranny on a really steep angle downwards, because there's no room in there.
So little room in there.
That big bulky cross member across the top of the engine bay it's not good.
Giving us all worlds of hurt.
Yeah, so we're gonna reset here, move the tilter so that it's in line with the drivetrain, and try again.
Attempt number 2 here, and we've got our tilter set up in somewhat of a better method. I'm kind of paranoid. We read online that people are using the bottom bolt of the intake manifold. It's like a...
Well, we also read online that it's
M12.
impossible to do it this way, but we know it's not because we took it out this way.
Yeah.
But there were guys who said, yeah, they did it this way with the tilter, so let's see what happens.
We're getting desperate here.
We are getting desperate.
We're very desperate. That's why we are removing the valve cover. Our last attempt looked like we just need a little bit of clearance at the back, DP, so.
Yeah, and at the front too. I'm tempted to hammer that lip down on that cross member. I know you don't want to, but
Yeah, well, we might have to just give it a little bit of
I'm
massaging
getting to the point where I just want this thing in the hole. This is tiring. This is too much work. We're gonna swap the beams in out 8, 9 times by now. So yeah, let's hope this works.
This is haunting us here. I don't know if this is gonna happen. I hope it does. We're just slowly stripping more and more stuff off the motor. The header is now hitting our subframe, so we're gonna try to take it off in hopes of getting more space so we can slide this thing in, but we probably should have dropped the subframe, but that's also so much work, and then the craziness of lifting it up and all that. I don't think there's a good way to put this motor in here.
That's why it needs a K swap or a...
Even a K, I don't think a K would help here. I think you're still screwed.
An LS swap, PT, a rotary swap. What do we need in here?
LS, there you go. No.
We gotta keep doing this, Peter.
I've lost count.
This is attempt 4, I believe. And we've moved the tilter to the front of the engine because that's how we had it when we pulled the motor out of the Badass 2000 back at the old chicken coop from the top. So if it worked coming out, maybe it'll work going in. We think it might give us a steeper angle of attack because the way we had it set up, the tilter was hitting on the cowl. So anyway.
This is desperation and...
This is pure desperation. Really,
what
at this
a
point, we should have
nightmare.
given up and just taken the subframe off and gone up from the
I
bottom.
know, but we're stubborn and we want to show the internet that this can be done.
Fail number 4. We can't make this thing fit, and we reviewed our video footage from when we pulled it out from the top side, and turns out we didn't have an oil pan on because we were examining the bearings at that time. So we think if we pull the oil pan, we'll have the clearance we need. Sadly, we've just done a beautiful job Honda bonding it on there. So the other option is to drop the subframe, but Pete recalls that one of those main bolts that was holding it in didn't feel really good going in, so he's kind of cautious about pulling it back out again. Because if we have a cross-threaded bolt or something like that, dealing with that would be a nightmare. So this is a wrap on what has been a truly horrendous day of working on the S2000. I can't remember the last time we've had a day
So
quite
much
this
defeat,
frustrating.
I know.
It's been 4 hours, I would say, of us struggling with this, trying to get it in the hole. So anyway, we're gonna regroup. We're gonna come back tomorrow and we're gonna make it fit one way or another. And in the meantime, please consider continuing to watch our channel, even though we failed this hard. You could even use a like button if you want to give us a little boost, because we're feeling pretty low right now. And hey, go check out our Patreon page too, and help us pay for a solution to fitting S2000 engines into an S2000, because it shouldn't be this hard.
All the bolts have been extracted. Let's see. Oh man,
It's glued on there good.
this thing is glued on here, as always.
A factory bond job.
I know.